social slime, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. See the shit, force a bear, fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is, let's see, Game On. And it is, I'm not sure even what day it is. What is it? The 8th of March 2016. And we'll see what we can talk about. There's, my browser's froze right up here, so I don't know what that's all about. Hopefully it lets go. Because there we go. And first things first, I'm going to go and you gotta excuse me, I just ran across this. I didn't know this existed. It has nothing to do with the New World Order. It has nothing really to do with anything. But I didn't know there was such a company. There's an in-depth story here on head lice removal companies. And the question is, should you hire or nitpick it on your own? Companies are profiting, but no proof lice outbreaks are any worse as parents struggle to solve age-old problem. Now, I'm not even sure who would do a startup on that. You know, I want to be an independent businessman. I want to work for myself. I think I'll start up a head lice picking company. Doesn't seem to be a lot of competition. I just don't get that one at all, but there it is. In the good old CBC. Now, let's see here. Let's see here. Apparently, let's see here. Well, I'm just, you gotta bear with me. I've been really busy all day. Okay, we don't need that. Let's go here. Oh, this sounds like a better story. A little more fear-mongering. An earthquake is possible along new fault zone near Victoria, say scientists. Seismologists in BC have confirmed the existence of a fault only 5 kilometers south of Victoria, giving South Coast residents one more thing to worry about when preparing for earthquakes. It's called the, wouldn't you know it? What's the new fault, this new fault line supposedly called? They probably saw it with the Vatican. They probably bounced a beam of light off with their telescope, Lucifer. And they found a new fault line. It's just south of Victoria. And it's called the Devil's Mountain Fault Zone. And it's actually made up of a series of faults that run from Washington State to Victoria, running much closer to the BC capital than the point where the Juan de Fuca Plate meets North American Plate, which scientists have predicted for decades will result in the big one. I mean, even when I was a kid, the scientists were telling me that, the west coast of Canada had a chance of just shearing off and going in the ocean. And but the big one when I was a kid was California. You know, the whole ocean side of California, from the mountains down, is just going to fall off into the ocean. But then again, I was told we were going to get nuked. Seismologists from Natural Resources Canada worked with the U.S. Geological Survey to map the complex fault system on the ocean floor. The findings were published in the summer of 2015 in the Geological Survey of Canada. This fault is about 125 kilometers long from Washington to Victoria, which would be an earthquake potentially in the magnitude of 6.5, 7, perhaps even 7.5. If the entire fault zone ruptured at once, said John Cassidy, head of earthquake seismology at Natural Resources Canada. Unlike the so-called big one, which will originate from the fault zone where North American Juan de Fuca plates meet, the Devil Mountain Fault faults lie entirely on the North American Plate, which usually generates smaller, shallower earthquakes. But proximity matters. In the Devil Mountain Faults, probably won't rupture all at once, said Cassidy. There's no evidence that this fault has ruptured in that fashion all at once because it's a series of fault zones. However, Cassidy says, the proximity of the fault zone to the major urban center of Victoria could be an issue. The distance makes a huge difference. The shaking that can be just as strong from a much smaller earthquake that is only 5 to 10 kilometers away from the city. The next steps, the researchers are working to find out how often earthquakes occur at the Devil Mountain Faults. The more frequently they happen, the more dangerous it is for residents living in the area. That's ongoing research to try to determine how often the fault moves, if it moves, said Cassidy. In addition, governments will need to continue retrofitting old buildings and updating building codes according to new seismic information, said Cassidy. We're incorporating all of this new information into our earthquake hazard model and into building codes. But overall, the change will be small because the area is already on high alert in preparation for the next big earthquake, he said. It's not going to make a huge change because we already have a very high hazard level. And nothing to date, has really fallen dead. There were a couple of good earthquakes in California. But overall, I lived out in Victoria, and we had earthquakes, and, your lampshade would rattle or shake a bit and stuff like that. But I'm starting to think that we got too many scientists, too many government workers, too many computer models. The computer model says this. When you boil it all down, folks, it doesn't matter how many scientists you have. It doesn't matter how many computer models you have. It doesn't matter how much propaganda they fire at you. It doesn't matter how much they try to fear you. Fact of the matter is, the earth is going to do what the earth does, what the earth has always done. So all of this wasted money, which is your tax dollars, right? Your tax dollars, because you fund all this crap. All of these scientists and all of the politicians, you fund everything. There's nothing you don't fund. You fund it all. And, they're hanging out in their offices, pushing paper, while you're out doing whatever it is you do. But, overall, the scientists really, they may think they're special, but really, what do they offer? What have they ever offered us that's so miraculous, Not much at all. And to get back to what's this? Well, he wants to come on the show?
Yep.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I can do that, I guess. But anyways, the fact of the matter is that science, like lawyers, okay, use this thing called jargon, and they use it to deceive you. They use it to fear you, and they have their own little languages, of which you're really not privy to, and so we just keep getting jerked around by these guys. So I really don't have if I see a sign, I'm probably going to spit on them, because I really don't have any use whatsoever for them anymore. There was a time when I thought science was pretty interesting. Now all I see it is propaganda to move the population to a place the population really doesn't ever want to get to. But they just keep pounding away at us. And so that's my thoughts on earthquakes and scientists. And I also have no use for what do you call that stuff? Politically correct language. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. All that does is open up for people to get angry with each other instead of just dealing with things. You know, you said this or you said that, I'm going to take you to this board or that board and make your life crap. Now, I did hear a story. Well, this is kind of interesting. Somebody wants to come on the show, so I'm not going to waste too much time here. But I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but there's been several stories. There was the cup or the bakery that wouldn't bake a gay cake, and they got busted for that and had their lives destroyed. I forget what the bill was. It was $135,000 or $350,000. They just got whacked because they wouldn't. You know, can you make me and my boyfriend a gay wedding cake? And the couple that had the bakery said, no. Try another bakery. We're not interested. And then these people went to a tribunal or whatever and destroyed these people's lives. There was a lady that refused to issue a gay wedding license, marriage license, and she got dragged through the mud. There was a couple, I think it was in Toronto, who, an old couple, an old Christian couple, old retired couple. And things are getting tougher for people, so they thought maybe they would rent out a room or apartment or whatever the hell they were going to rent out there in their house. And so some gays came and they wanted to rent the thing. And the folks said, well, not really, it won't work. And they had their lives destroyed. So I heard a story last night, I think it was, that two Muslim truck drivers didn't want to deliver liquor or beer or whatever it was, even though they took jobs as a delivery, and you deliver what's on the truck. They took exception to the fact that they got fired because they wouldn't deliver any liquor or alcohol. And the guy that hired them says, well, we can't make special, what's on the truck's got to get delivered. It's that simple. And so the trucking outfit got beaned, I think it was $240,000 or something, because he fired these guys because they wouldn't deliver what was on the trucks. And that's where we're at here, okay? And it takes me back to what I've been saying forever. Two things have got to fall: the Constitution and the Christian faith. And if those two things fall, it's over. It's going to get really, really ugly. So we have to, stand up a little bit here and do some pushing back. Not necessarily with a bunch of guns and that, at least not yet. We need to just push back. And I saw a thing in Texas today that they got a Sharia court down there or something now. And if we were, these are Christian nations, and we allowed them to separate church and state. And when they separated church and state, they took away your God-given rights and turned you into a corporate fictional piece of garbage that they just extract from. And so they got rid of the law. And Sharia law is the law of the Muslims, Islamic law, but they never separated their church and state. So they say, we can't recognize your courts. We have to have our own courts. Meanwhile, the people that founded these nations don't have that opportunity, and that's what we got to do. What we really need to do is just take a boot to the whole legal system and bring back law, and because that's all there is. The legal thing has destroyed man and turned him into a human who is forced to follow by force the false laws of the legal system, which is not law. And we got to get back to law somehow. We have got to get back to law. This legal system is nothing but cloak and daggers and thieves and schemers and deceivers, and they rob you. Every opportunity they get, they take money out of your pocket. That doesn't happen in law. It only happens in the legal system. And I think that we should take a note from the Muslims. Now, we need to get them the hell out of here because we can't allow the Sharia law to take hold. But I think we should take a note from them that we need to bring back law, okay? So there is something to be taken by the Muslim movement, and that is we go get our law back and trumpet over top of the legal system. The legal system is a complete and total fraud, and you can't legislate fraud into a lawful position. And therefore, we have to get law back. Shakespeare, I guess, was right. First kill all the lawyers. The lawyers and the bankers, got to get rid of them. I mean, they tell you that their new banking system or their banking is solid. Well, last I heard, the world is like $72 trillion in the freaking hole. Now, how in the hell could anybody equate that to a solid banking system? I mean, you got to be nuts. The world is $72 trillion in the hole. To who? A bunch of conniving, deceiving, despicable criminals. And they do it all via the legal system because they never get away with it through law. And for those that are maybe not listening too often to this show, believe me, legal and law have nothing whatsoever to do with each other. Okay, you can't get farther away from these like two opposite poles, and this idea that you're a human being an animal. If you want to be an animal, be an animal. You want to be treated like an animal, be treated like an animal. What I'm saying is we got to go back to being men and women, and we got to get back to law. Anything less than that, we lose. Because it's designed to make us lose. And that's simple. Anyways, I'm going to bring my friend Art in here. I haven't talked to him in a week or not a week, but a few days. And he has some substance to share, and if I don't add him to the show, he knows where I am, and he's going to, if he can't get here himself, will send the legal beagles after me, who will take what little money I have left out of my pocket. Anyways, I'm going to bring Art in and see what he's up to, and should be interesting. Always is. Now, why can I not bring Art in here? Oh, here we go. We have some substance, so hopefully we can get him in here.
Hello.
Arthur.
Hey, how are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing okay.
Are we on the air?
We were last time I checked.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so what? Do you guys get up to Paul's today?
I did. I painted a bedroom, and I had some fun, and I had some interaction with like-minded people that understand that authority or the belief in authority is nothing more than a religious belief. Imagine that. Freedom of religion. I allow you to believe whatever it is you believe, so long as you don't hurt me with it. That's kind of fun.
Well, I'm missing that. Like, see, I saw down in Texas now they go to Sharia court, right? And,
awesome.
Yeah, and like what I'm saying, is that they didn't separate church and state, or whatever you want to call it. So they have to run with the law, right?
Well, here's the beautiful thing about church and state, is you cannot have a state without a church or society. Church and society are synonyms. Look it up in the law dictionary. It's beautiful.
Right. So what they've done is when they separated church and state here, way back when, what they did was they took away our right of law and put us straight into the corporate legal system
for my interpretation of it was they removed man's ability to move on morals or an intrinsic or inherent ability to discern right from wrong, and said that it's right for us to steal from you, and anything that you do against that is wrong.
Exactly.
Oops.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So, yeah. I mean, they took us. They took the men and they turned them into animals, humans, and they took the law and they threw it out, and they give us this stupid legal system which gives them the right to steal from us. All they have to do is put some stuff on paper and say, because of the dangers of jaywalking, we care about you. If we catch you jaywalking, we're going to charge you $10,000 for your own benefit.
I'm going to laugh right the fuck out loud. Okay, here's the most beautiful and eloquent rebuttal to that premise. Is there is a religious belief in one word: authority. Authority, as defined in the etymological definition, is nothing more than a book with quotations often used to settle an argument.
Yeah.
Authority.
Right.
Under which authority are you acting? Because if I am not a signator or a contractual consignee to that authority, there is zero jurisdiction and there is zero adherence to your belief system, which means that I have the freedom of my religious belief that your religion does not supersede my religion or my belief. So, show me the contract, show me the document on which I have agreed to your authority. You're writing it down so that others believe it's fucking true. Regardless of how many schools and how many institutions of higher learning you convince your authority to be the one and the only authority is irrelevant in the freedom of religion argument. So, how is it that I am obligated to believe that I am supposed to work my ass off to give you everything that I've fucking ever earned and then turn around and turn a blind eye when you steal or take by force everything else? Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Sorry, but I do not agree with your authority. Where is my signature on a contract that states that I agree with your belief system? Does not exist. It's a falsehood.
Well, yeah, it is, but I mean that's the whole point of this is that we need to drive these clowns from our lands, is what we need to do.
No, we don't. There's no needing to drive anyone from anywhere. The only thing that I see that is required is that those that are under a belief system that is not their own, that was indoctrinated into them through a educational system or a system of class or society, of which does not benefit them, just to open their eyes a little wee bit and say, you know what, why am I supporting a system that allows certain entities to do violence against me or my brother or my sister or my aunt or my uncle or my niece or my nephew? Why am I allowing that to happen when I know it is, 1, wrong, 2, a trespass, 3, an out theft of something that those that are relying upon the belief system of, I don't know what you'd call it, an indoctrinated mass class system, or those that are afraid to stand up and actually say what they believe. Regardless, how can I allow this man to have this costume, permit him to do what I cannot do? I cannot grant a power that I don't have to another. I cannot grant a power that would throw me in jail to some dip fucking weed that has a uniform, a flak jacket, and a badge to harm another, whereas if I was to do the same thing, I would be found guilty of an offense. There is no admonition or acclamation of physical violence that excuses anyone from acting against their brother when they know they are exempt by the rule that is accepted by the masses. Well, let's define the masses. Did I vote that it's okay for dipshit with a flak jacket to walk into Bob's house and throw him out of his house because he did not pay a contested contract? Bullshit. Where is the rule of law? Law is the spoken word. Law is the agreement of parties. Prove me wrong. Go back into all of history and all of law and tell me where I'm wrong. I've researched this forever. This is bullshit. So those that are in power, I mean, let's forget about what we're dealing with today. And let's go back about 75 years, 70 years. What happened in Germany? Everything that happened under Adolf Hitler's rule was legal. It was legal. It was within the parameters of the law that those that convinced others they were right to agree with. It was legal. Turns out in the hearings at Nuremberg, those that were following the orders that were legal were not exempt from morality, not exempt from treating their brother or sister with respect and or admiration, if not indifference, rather than you have to subjugate yourself to this set of words passed by this set of assholes to fuck you out of everything that you've ever done or believed in up until now. Oops. Authority. My ass. Authority is nothing more than, and this is a beautiful definition out of the Etymology Dictionary, which defines the use of all words. Authority, a book with quotations often used to settle an argument. Well, let's just agree upon the book. Are we using the Jewish Talmud? Are we using the Roman Catholic Bible? Are we using the Quran? Are we using the ancient philosophies of Confucius and or all of the Eastern mystics that came before any of this fucking crap that has been designed to control and emancipate or enslave the masses? Get on the wagon, get off the bullshit, and think for oneself. What is it that I agree with rather than what is it I was told to agree with? Think from your heart. Think from your knowing, your intuition, that interior voice that says to you, this is right or this is wrong. Bullshit. You cannot legislate a fraud. You cannot legislate an untruth. Is it your intention to deceive this man? Not one person or being in office can ever answer that question without incriminating themselves, because they have admonished their belief in right and wrong to a set of rules or regulations that are corporately constructed for them to steal from their brother and think that they did a good day's work. Fuck off. Excuse my French. That's about all I have to say. Who are you and what authority are you relying upon? Are you relying upon that which was contrived or conceived to deceive everyone and elicit their automatic response to bow to some entity that does not exist based on an authority or a position of superiority that is given rather than granted? It's hilarious. I'm just sick and tired of all of this crap, all of this illusion, all of this idealism that this party or that party has my best interest at heart. Bullshit. They don't have any interest at heart other than the interest which unjustly enriches them at your expense. Excuse me. That's obvious to anyone that has the capacity to think outside of the indoctrination system of a public school education. Public school education is nothing more than I need to train working people to run the machinery of the society that I deem is necessary to enrich me beyond what anybody can fathom. Let's ask those foundations that have received this type of wealth. The Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the foundation of the Clintons, the foundation of well, I don't remember what Trudeau's foundation was named, but it's there. Do the research. Do a little due diligence. Dig in and find out who is fucking everyone so that they might have 17 yachts on 13 continents and 17 seas. Fuck you and fuck off. Go away. We do not need you people anymore. You are nothing more than criminals and or usurpers of everyone else's energy, and enough of that crap. Go away. If you do not do so of your own accord, then justice shall prevail. Justice. Well, let's look at the definitions of justice. Is it just is? That's just the way it is? Bullshit. No, it is the amoral and moral obligation of the people and their expectations that they were sold to be met against those that would pretend or portend to be advocates for that justice and yet unjustly enrich themselves, holding offices in a deceptive capacity. Who doesn't agree with that? Tell me. The Liberal Party? The Conservative Party? The New Democratic Party? The Green Party? What fucking party have I not been invited to? And how is it a party when it's a party of deception and fraud? When it's a deception and or an affront to anybody's moral standard of how things should be. I'm sick and tired of it. And I am not the only one. Go online. Find hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of like-minded people calling out the bullshit of authority. I did not go to school to learn that this guy is my boss. I went to school to learn that I am equal to everyone on the planet and they are equal to me and their voice matters. Yet, by imposing force and or armies, police forces, agencies against those ideals does not excuse the fact that you have limited and or diminished the capacity of the voice of the true power of the planet. You have never been in power. You have always held the illusion of power. And guess what? It's coming up your asshole and does not feel good when you are exposed to the lie, the deception, the miscommunication of your position based on special interests or those that can pay the price, i.e., advertising firms or radio networks or multiple television ad spots at an unbelievably fucking stupid rate of pay, by the way. How can anybody buy that this is not more than a puppet show held by those that are afraid to face the truth? You are useless dicks that the world can do without. And you know what? Take as many of these fraudulent dollars and fraudulent fucking faces of value as you think you have earned. Because guess what? We're done with you. We are done with the powers that were, the powers that think they are, and the powers that think they be. Because the true power lies within each individual aspect of self. Each individual aspect of what I know is right for my neighbor and what I know is right for me. And that is non-intrusion and non-infringement of their right. Their right to be and believe whatever it is they want to be and believe, so long as it doesn't harm another. Now you can hide behind the aspect of, I'm not harming anybody because it's the law. Well, you know what? Words on paper are nothing more than words on paper. What is your intention? Speak your intention and live your intention and accept the consequences of your intention. This is what I came here to say. This is what I believe, and this is what I'm experiencing. My intention is to allow each other their aspect of truth, regardless of whether I believe it or not, providing it harms no other man, woman, or child within the realm of that opinion. Where does that fall short in anyone's perspective or perception? Where does that fall short in anyone's ideology or thought of what is right or wrong? You choose to wear a ceremonial dress, if you choose to be this thing or that thing, I welcome it, so long as it harms no other. If you choose to accept or not accept idealisms or educations or responsibilities, that is okay, so long as it does not harm another. Now, let's define harm. Harm is nothing more than an infringement of another person's liberty or their freedom. I.e., a tax is an infringement on someone's liberty or freedom because it is an unsolicited bill that can only be collected by force. Now, if I believe in a system or an application or a solution to a problem, I might choose to support that, regardless of other people's beliefs or not. So long as my belief does not harm another or infringe on another, no harm, no foul. If that does infringe or harm another, let's talk about it and let's see if we can reach an agreement. But we do not force our ideas or idealisms against our brothers, our sisters, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, or our offspring because it's written down on paper, therefore it has to be obeyed. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I call absolute bullshit on the ideal that because Sister Mary or Teacher fucking Larry or Instructor or Professor Dipwad told me that this is the only way I'm allowed to think and I'm graded on agreeing with that thought process. Fuck off and go away. Because I disagree. I disagree adamantly and I disagree wholeheartedly, yet I do not wish you harm for believing what you believe. Let's just find a common ground. Let's find a common solution. Let's find the right answer cooperatively rather than competitively. I do not need to compete with dipshit that has 16 letters behind his name saying he's accredited by I don't fucking know who to say he's right versus something that might actually fucking work but does not profit XYZ company. Bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of all of it. I am tired and I am sick to death that anyone would believe that just because you were indoctrinated in a Roman Catholic system or an Anglican Protestant system or a Muslim system or a Hindu system that your way is absolute and the only way that things can be. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I call bullshit on anybody that adheres to a system of taxation to provide those that do fuck all other than push paper and tell others what to do. They provide zero progress for the advancement of culture, education, understanding, realization of the planet based on an indoctrinated system which allows their continual existence of exploitation. Fuck you and fuck off. Go away. You are useless, and or if you do not believe you are useless, at least investigate the uselessness of the office that you seem to think is so important. Because the office is nothing more than a fiction. You are a man or a woman enacting the policies of those that came before you without question. If you did not question the motives or the operation of those that came before you, you will be subject to those motives and operations. At least a thinking populace, those that question those that came before them, understand one fundamental basic. Why is that there? And who does it help? And if the who is less than everyone concerned, there must come another question. Why am I doing this? Why is it I am doing this? Because it was the only thing I ever learned, or because I never ever bothered to ask myself the question, why? A 4-year-old asks the question why 100 times a day. We have to put the 4-year-old through 19 fucking years of indoctrination to knock the fuck out of that question, why? Let's ask the question again. I am 4 years old. Why? Why is that acceptable? And why do I allow myself to believe that's acceptable to do to my child? Grow up. Awaken. Awaken to the bullshit and the lies. The indoctrination process that has enriched the warmongers and those that would see you dead. Wonder why you have no local governance, why there is no town council. It has to be a municipal council. Municipalities are nothing more than a creation of bullshit. Ask any fucking member of a municipal council or a mayorship why they hold the office, and they will say, it's because I ran. What did you run for? I ran for the existence of a control structure that has no ability to hear the word or the understanding of the people they are supposedly to represent. And I know this firsthand because I ran for mayor of the township of Huron-Kinloss, and they would not accept a Canadian passport as valid identification for the entity to run for that mayorship. Therefore, that has to be nothing but a fiction. A fictional entity of a representation of bullshit. Fuck you, councilors, fuck you, mayors, and fuck you, officers of supposed authorities that you have no idea or understanding as to what you have committed yourselves to. Are you people? Are you men and women? Or are you corporate officers that have engaged yourselves to steal from yourselves and your children to enrich those that you will never get to meet and never be able to even shine the shoes of, you dumb fucks? Maybe I've said enough. Anybody else care to chime in?
So, like, how's it going, eh?
I'm having fun.
Well, I mean, everything you said is true.
I know that. I would not have said it.
And I know it, and you know it. And yeah, it does get a little ridiculous.
So because something exists on a piece of paper, Ron, does that make it fact? Tom Sawyer.
It doesn't
no,
make
just
it
wait.
anything.
Let me finish. Tom Sawyer exists on paper. The writings of what they consider to be one of the great American authors, Mark Twain, wrote Tom Sawyer. Now, does that make it fact? Or is it fiction? Where is the dividing line between fact and fiction? Well, my understanding from all the research I have done, and I've done a lot of it, a fact is nothing less than a testamentary signed by more than two witnesses. So if we go to the biblical bullshit, which is nothing more than biblical bullshit, but we'll go by it because it's what they've determined our law system to be based on, is that a fact is wherever two or more are gathered in my name. Two witnesses to attest to a thing done is a fact. Now, let's go to contracts. The law of contractual obligation. The contractual obligation, or the law, is verbal. I have agreed to do something. And all law is auditory. This is a maxim of law. This is something that everyone that's listening can look up and say, maxims of law. What is law? All law is auditory. Therefore, it is the spoken word. Everything else is reduced to writing, i.e. that which we spoke and we have agreed upon as contractual obligation and obligee, whatever, we spoke it. Now, we both have two witnesses to attest to our agreement. Without two witnesses, it is not a fact. Therefore, every judge and every jury that is there to pronunciate on the facts cannot do so because no contract has been allowed to be a fact. It is only ever witnessed by one party or less, and it is only ever signed by one party or less. How can you have a unilateral contract be an agreement in law when it is not, one, acknowledged, and two, signed by the other party, at least the party that seems to be the beneficiary of the default of the contract? It's bullshit. This is the biggest con game. Confidence. No belief in self. It's silliness. Now, what we need to do as a populace and as brothers and sisters to those officers that thought they joined a organization to help and protect the people, we need to empower these individuals because they had the right idea. They absolutely had the right idea. That they wanted to help their aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, grandmothers, grandfathers, grandchildren, etc. Yet, once they get to that office, and you have experienced this firsthand, Ron, because I know I've had these conversations with members that are supposed to agree with the people. And they have said, if the order comes down, off comes the baby's arm. I will not name names, but you know what I'm talking about. Here's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Well, it was the left nut. Actually, is what it was off a newborn.
Well, I was trying to be a little more confident.
Well, no, I mean that was a counselor that when we said how for one of you people are going to stand up and do the right thing, and then how far can you be pushed by other levels of government because you are underneath of those other levels of government. You push all of this UN agenda crap on us. And every other piece of garbage that come in our way. And the question was really simple. If the province or the state says that the local municipal council must write a bylaw that every new born male will have his left nut removed at birth, will you do it? It almost sounds like more strong shit. Will they do it? Probably not, but we can force them to do it. And his attitude
to be immoral?
His attitude was very simple. If that's what the vote comes down at, off comes the nut. And these are the kind of nut cases that are running your lives.
Thank you, Randy Ropel, for that response. I love you, Randy. You're a dipshit, highest order. I will go on the record.
Mason, right? So what do you want?
I will go on the record to say that Randy Ropel has been the biggest disappointment and the most illuminating individual I have ever met in local and municipal governance that is a complete dipshit. And I will use that term, dig it up. Go into your absolute dictionaries and dig up the word dipshit. You dip a spoon into a pile of shit and you get Randy Ropel. Sue me, Randy. You invited me to do so, and I am. I'm going to sue you and everyone that has ever held municipal office because it is a fraud, an intention to deceive. It is designed as an intention to deceive. It is implemented as an intention to deceive, and it screws the people out of their own resources and their own wealth through an intention to deceive. So defend that, fuckhead. Here is my notice and letter of understanding spoken aloud right now. It is a notice to all public officials or perceived persons in public office that you are doing a disservice and a disconstitutional agreement to follow the objectivity and or the advice of council that has not been approved by the populace, i.e. following the Amber League gavel, following the United Nations, following all of these directives that are supposedly for the greater advancement of humankind. Fuck you and fuck off. Read what you have agreed to. Read the words and then read them again. Because when you understand them, you have agreed to dissociate yourselves from any and all responsibility.
I hear music, my friend. So, that was
selling lies and buying time, killing people, nation live, lower classes, social slide, they don't matter, genocide, sick for war, sick for men, making money, they don't get, see the shit, force of it,
Thursday
night, back, it's only for them, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids, no one thinks gun, trees, lie to your face,